What's up guys, welcome back to another F124 My Team Career Mode video. Today, Belgium, Spa, it's an amazing track, I really enjoy it. Mainly because it's just a straight line and I can't really go wrong with that. It's not really just a straight line, but it's a big part of it. Before we get to the race weekend, got a couple of bits. Marketing want to use Logan Sargent to basically help them launch their merch. However, doing that means he won't be focusing on the driving. I want him to be focused purely on the driving. We don't get as much cash, but Sargent's pace is going to be improved by 5, which is good.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
Indeed. And obviously, reaction training as part of that. Sargent needs more awareness and focus. Let's get in there. And for me, this is a personal thing now, just going to swap out all the engine components, put in the freshest ones we have. And speaking of engine components, one of our developments for the engine has failed. It was going to come on for this race weekend, but it will have to wait and be redeveloped. Race weekend.
High-speed straights, heady elevation changes and dramatic corners. What is there not to love about today? It's qualifying day here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Exactly, couldn't have said it better myself. It is qualifying with me, that's me, the guy on the right, not the guy on the left. We're going to go Q1. We do have fresh engine, well, mostly fresh engine in, so we should be very competitive here, just purely from the setup that we're running. Obviously it's very straight line focused. Look at the track map in the bottom left if you're not sure of all of the straights I'm talking about. There's quite a lot, especially in sector 1 and in sector 3. Sector 2 is a twisty bit, and that's about it really. So it's all about straight line speed down here, just using the DRS to our advantage, letting the engine, which we've been cooking up nicely throughout this career mode so far. Really like a good strong engine in the back of a Formula 1 car. Now, Bottas gets nicely out of the way there, I have to say, unlike Stroll in, was it last week's episode or the week before? Can't remember. Stroll got in the way heavily before, but Bottas nicely out of the way. We do miss a couple of apexes here and there on this qualifying run. It's the first one in Q1. We do almost take too much of the inside, so we had to turn out of the corner, which then meant I went wide and essentially just backed out of that lap. So we haven't really got a lap on the board yet. P22 right now. Q1, about 8 minutes to go. A lot of wheel spin out of the last corners to start our, essentially our first proper flying lap here at Spa, and much nicer first turn as well, getting as close to that wall as I dare. It was almost giving me Monaco vibes, getting so close to that wall and trying not to clip any of my rear wheels on the wall and just looping the car around, because that is not the way you want to start a flying lap. Again, opening the DRS, look at this long straight here. We maximize for that long straight. It is possibly the best overtaking zone in Formula 1. Mark's worried that we're in P22. Mark, it's all part of the greater good. We do go horrendously wide. It does slow us down a lot, but I think we have time to burn, to be honest, just from the pace in sector 1. A bit of a nicer there. We do have the lift, bit of a nicer turn in. I did have to kind of correct it a little bit, but overall kept it within the track limits there. Through this sector, the car feels pretty good, pretty hooked up. A little bit understeery in some places, but again, we've essentially torn all of the draggy bits off the car for this race weekend. Because again, look, here's another long straight, essentially. It's just a little bit curvy, but that's about it. Didn't really optimize my line through there, to be honest with you, but another heavy braking zone down into the last 2 turns. We lock the rears ever so slightly, try and flick the car in. Wheel spin again on the exit, but not too much. It's a 1:45.8, which puts us P4 in Q1. which is unreal. Obviously that meant we were through Q1. Didn't bother running again. This is Q2. Gonna set off for our first and only flying lap in Q2. See what we can do. Again, braking around the 100 meters, turning it in nicely, getting up onto that curb a little bit, trying not to run out too far wide onto the red sausage curb of the exit of turn 1. And now for the bit I love the most. Up the hill, straight in the car, nice and easy. It's possibly the easiest section, the easiest sector in the F1 calendar, because it's almost like 2 corners. You don't even have to lift really through the very high speed uphill sort of chicane. It's just flat out pretty much. I know obviously Verstappen did lift, I think it was in 2023. We go horrendously wide again all the way over there. Now we're potentially just fighting the car too much, trying to overdrive a little bit. Again, a nicer turn in again here. We didn't have to lift that much, if at all, through the very fast downhill left-hander. And again, we're just going to try and keep the car in check. We missed the apex, which really hampers our run through the next corner. Can we get it back on track? We lock up a little bit, go a little bit deep, but we straighten the car up. We do everything we can, almost all over the gravel as well. That really won't help. It's just been a scruffy lap. We don't even have the fuel all the time to get back and do another lap. This is it. This is what we have. We left it late. We thought we could do with the tyres, but we just didn't put the lap together, and we had a little snap at the last couple of corners as well. The bus stop chicane wasn't on form.
Welcome to this visit to the Ardennes countryside. Spa-Francorchamps hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925, and this historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike, and us here in the commentary box too. So it's a warm welcome from the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track's a great one for fans of pure speed, and the average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Magnussen, Albon, Tsunoda, Ocon, Stroll, Norris, Gasly, Brown, Hamilton, Bottas, Théo Pourchaire, Joe, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Indeed, let's see.
Okay, so we didn't have the performance in qualifying this weekend, but considering last race, we might still be able to get a points finish.
Nice. Thank you, Mark, for the optimism this weekend. It looks like an easy soft medium strat. I think we're possibly going to go medium soft, as our tyre wear seems pretty good in comparison to what was projected initially. We're just going to switch around these so we can just see the difference. But I'm pretty sure it's like not even a 1/10 difference. It's very, very similar either way. But yeah, I just prefer to have the faster tyres at the end. Yeah, it's not even a 1/10. It's actually slower doing medium soft than soft medium. We're going to take a bit of fuel out too, but let's get into the race. So we line up on the grid, and the lights are coming on. They are all lit. Now they're out as we get racing here in Belgium. A good start, especially compared to Norris ahead of us. Hamilton flying through on the left-hand side. So we're going to look to the inside and go down the inside of Hamilton as well, who's side by side with us on the exit. We're actually 3 wide with the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll as well, who gets the run around the outside, but now we're side by side with Hamilton. Is he going to back out? Yes, he does. So we go single file up the hill, and now look at the slipstream and the battery that we've got in deploy against Lance Stroll and his Aston Martin, and that is a nice, easy couple of positions on lap 1. We have a cheeky look down the inside of Yuki Tsunoda, but nothing doing there. Can we maybe get a little switch back here as we do go on the attack? As we run down the hill, Tsunoda leaves a bit of a gap, then kind of closes it off as he sort of got off the brakes there. Not really sure what was happening there, but a little bit of contact. Nevertheless, I don't think we do have any damage, which is obviously good news for us. Now, obviously, going into the left-hander here, full of fuel, did not anticipate the understeer either, which made me look at the MFD in the bottom right just to see if we had damage. But I think we're all good, although there might be a car just up ahead with a bit of damage. There seems to be a bit of a gap forming between ourselves in this queue and the top sort of points places there. And yeah, in a straight we're fine. The softs wear quite heavily, I would say. Not really heavily, it's only a 15 lap race, but I feel like they do drop off a lot more and a lot quicker than the mediums. Now we're going to send it down the inside of 2 cars, sliding the back end out. Probably not the best thing to do there, but potentially cold tyres on the rear and a little bit too much of a heavy left foot. Just kind of half spun us there, but we are up into P10 after 2 laps. Well, after 1 and a tiny bit of laps. But now we've got to hold on to the coattails of Esteban Ocon up ahead, who is almost a second ahead of us. But thankfully we've got DRS to aid us down this long, sort of the main straight really. We go underneath the helicopter above. Just checking the Magnussen's hanging back as now Ocon is here. We're going to look to a move down the inside. Ocon is really defending that hard. There's actually contact down into the first part of that chicane. We got a little bit on the gravel, and that was pretty heavy contact. We almost spun the car entirely round, as now just down the hill there's a lot of cars following behind us that could potentially have capitalized on that hasty move by us, maybe. Bit heavy-handed. Did Ocon turn in? Did I just go a little bit deep? I think I maybe did. So a bit impatient maybe behind the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. We're going to try and check the vehicle condition. Nothing from Mark. Maybe we'll try again. Maybe he's just, I don't know, his headset fell off maybe as he was screaming at the TV. Not sure if we were going to be out of the race there. Don't know if he's going to be around this time. No, he's not.
Copy.
He's there. I guess he just doesn't want to talk to us after that. But moving on to lap 4. Are we going to have another go at Esteban Ocon? We're very close. Nice and close. He does have DRS on those ahead. But can we make something happen here? Again, he's going defensive. We're going to look to the outside this time and potentially swoop around the outside. A very risky line. He's still there, still defending and fighting it. A little bit of a kiss of the tyres as well. He just tries to squeeze us out wide there. Just getting his elbows out, I feel. He's holding on to a good position here for Alpine, but we want to take that position away from him. Again, no damage for us, which is good news. We're getting into the groove. The tyres are gripping and warming up very nicely now at this stage in the race. And Ocon seems to have lost the DRS from Alonso up ahead. So maybe now is the time for us to shine. We lose the back end a little bit over the curbing at the end of Sector 2. And now we've got plenty in absolutely mountains of battery to burn. Potentially we're going to go side by side. Can we even dream of going to the outside here and making it too wide? Yeah, we're going to do it anyway. Why not? Through the fast left-hander. Nice and easy, actually. Yeah, it was very, very easy. As the yellow flag out.
Some information on Leclerc. Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
And there he is, the stricken Ferrari on the left-hand side of the road, just there. Retiring from pole as well. So sad to see for Leclerc. We go deep. We're probably thinking about Ferrari's problems too much, not our own. That problem is coming in the shape of Esteban Ocon, but we're going to let him go. Yeah, you can go first. He can give us the DRSs. Look how slow he is up the hill. Potentially those softs not quite able to hold on to the road as well as we think, maybe. But he's really pushing hard. He's trying to deploy the battery. He must think he's faster than us around this circuit. We get a little bit over the gravel on the inside there, but never mind. We have now caught the back of Alex Albon. He's moving on to lap 7. He's also on the softs. I'm pretty sure everybody on the grid, barring ourselves, is on the soft tyre for this race. At least to start the race. I'm sure they will be going mediums after, but you can see the grip that we have over Alex Albon. We're going to look to the inside again. He's defending very heavily, and a little bit of a lockup for us kind of sent us into the side of Alex Albon. And yeah, I think everyone's being very, very aggressive at the start of this race, myself included. And we're now P4, just purely from the pit stops that have been happening around us. Piastri up ahead, 1.5 seconds ahead of us on soft tyres. Russell up there on medium, so he must have started on the medium tyre, following the alternate strategy like we are. And now it's a question of, can we catch Oscar Piastri? He will probably box at the end of this lap anyway, but let's see what kind of pace we have relative to those on older tyres. And look at that, in the first few corners of Sector 1 going into Sector 2, we kind of dipped underneath the DRS zone of 1 second. Go a little bit deep in that corner again. We're not immune to tyre wear. We are pulling a little bit of tyre wear, just not as much as the softs, which again you can see just pulling through some of the corners. We just have better grip than the softs. And now everyone has boxed. We weren't able to catch Piastri before his pit lap. It's now lap 9 of 15. We have Carlos Sainz behind us on the hards, and Verstappen on the mediums behind him, and Russell on the hards. And we're going to come into the pits, peel in, hopefully a good pit stop from the team, and we might rejoin this race in a pretty good position on pretty good tyres. The softest compound, the fastest tyre. It wears the fastest as well, but there's only 5 laps left, so less racing than the rest of the grid did on their soft compound. We've got less fuel, so we're a lighter car as well, and we're used to the track. All big bonus points, and we've rejoined in P6, and we've got DRS. Everything is aligning for us today around this legendary Belgian circuit. It's Alonso and Perez fighting hard here. We're going to let them go at it. It's a bit of a roadblock for us at the moment. We can't really get the most out of our soft tyres, but maybe there's something we can do through the rest of this lap. Oscar Piastri's just behind us, potentially thinking the same as us, that the car ahead is potentially weak, and that we can capitalise on a mistake or some battling. And yeah, Sector 2 you kind of got to sit behind, unfortunately. At least at the moment we don't have that much pace over those around us. Dipping a wheel on the gravel on the exit there, just trying to maximise the width of the track as Piastri's having a little think. We're just going to turn on the battery and look at the speed that we've got over Fernando Alonso. We're going to look to the outside. He does take his normal line, which is totally fine. We weren't really alongside, but it caught us off guard as we send it into the bus stop chicane. Give him the room on the inside, and then we should have the move nice and done. Now we're on the back of Perez. 3 laps to go. Lap 12 of 15. We go a little bit deep again. And I'm missing our little reference point there for the braking potentially. Or maybe just trying to brake a bit later, be a bit braver, but it's not coming off. And now, onto the long straight, DRS open. Perez does not have DRS. We do. And some battery. To the inside. Thank you very much, Sergio. And now, we've reached the final boss. We're in P4 in a Grand Prix. I'm getting a nosebleed. I'm so high up in P4. We're not used to this. But lap 14 now. We've caught up to the back of George Russell, who is on the hards as we lose the back end through the very fast left-hander. That was a bit of a scary moment. But we're trying to push. Use the rest of our tyres that we can to see if we can catch George Russell. His hards are older than my softs, but his hards haven't been wearing quite as heavily as my softs.
Rain in about 10 to 15 minutes.
Mark is talking about after the race. I think he's thinking about pubs or bars to go to, and he's just wondering if we should sit inside or outside, because there's no way the next 10 to 15 minutes is going to have anything to do with this race. It's the final lap. We are so close, we're sniffing the rear end of George Russell. Okay. Let's leave that. Going up the hill, we should have DRS here. See if we can get ever closer to the rear end of George Russell. Give it a good sniff as we go past. And just jumping on board from the back of the Mercedes up ahead. We're not quite close enough to make a move stick here. That was maybe the only place we could make a solid move work. At this side of the track anyway. Look at the grip we have over the Mercedes. We almost think about going around the outside there. We just got so much grip. And we need to make a move stick. We need to make it decisive. But we need to make a move to get onto the podium places. I'm smiling while commentating over this purely because this is unreal. We've been fighting for the minor. We started off fighting for the wooden spoon at the start of the season. Then we've been fighting for potentially getting near 10th place. Then we've been fighting for 8th, maybe a 7th. We ride on board with the back of George Russell's Mercedes there. You can see us getting closer and closer towards the bus stop chicane. We have 0 battery left. We go for a massive lunge. There is contact again. We give him the space on the inside, but the grip and the traction give us P3.
Okay, good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
What a result. Our very first podium of this career mode and driver of the day.
And Carlos Sainz sees the checkered flag and wins.
Well, it all came good in the end for them, but it wasn't an easy start. Not the most straightforward of days, but I think it shows great strength in an athlete as a driver when you can overcome a day like this and walk away still with a victory.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Exactly, Crofty. But so are we. So are we. Look at us. Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen, and then us. Speaking of us, if you're new around here, you haven't subscribed, please do. You just stay up to date with all the episodes. Easiest way. But there we are, spraying champagne on Carlos Sainz after successfully sniffing George Russell's rear end. P3. What a result.
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Neither can I, Crofty. What a result. P3. We did set up our car for this race, without a doubt. We invested heavily in the engine, put in all new components. Amazing. But anyway, Carlos Sainz, Verstappen, ourselves, Russell, Alonso, Perez, Piastri, Albon, Ocon, Hamilton, Norris, Stroll, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Teo Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Daniel Ricciardo, Logan Sargent, and Charles Leclerc with a DNF. Now that P3 in this race takes us to P10 in the driver standings. 10 points clear of Lance Stroll, pretty happy with that. And once again, sniffing the rear end of George Russell. What a great race for us. Absolutely incredible. And it also takes us nicely into P6 in the Constructors. Ahead of Williams, gapping them by about 12 points. And nowhere near Aston Martin. Or George Russell's rear end. There you go. What a race. Let me know what you guys think or thought in the comments below. I'm very happy with that one. As always, here are the highlights so you can watch all of the contact we made during this race. Being a bit more aggressive. Again, very low downforce, low drag setup for this race weekend, and it paid off. It is a good sign of things to come. And again, if you enjoyed the episode, leave a like. If you're new and you want to see more, what happens in the future, where do we get to as a team, hit the subscribe button. It's the best way for you to know when I upload. No question. But that's it for this race. I'm going to go just chill out and smile after sniffing the rear end of George Russell. Still can't believe I said that, but it's there. And it's in the video because I'm lazy and I just can't be bothered to take it out. But that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next week.